This month, I plan on working on projects that I already have in progress. I really want to work on what I have and get things finished and not spend a lot on buying new things because I have so much already that is already partially done, very close to being done, or just things that I really love and want to actually see finished. So today I'm going to be working on a flying geese quilt, and this is a quilt pattern that I designed and absolutely love. I have one top in this quilt pattern already finished, and one of my goals this month is to actually quilt that one. And then I have it in this colorway here. All of the colors are the same in the, well, I don't want to say prints, but all these colors are the same as the other one, but the background is a lighter color rather than a darker color. I'll put a picture up on the screen of the top that I already have finished so you can kind of see it. And I'll put in the description a link to that tutorial if you would like to work on it as well. So as you can see, I have all the fabric already cut. I have some of the blocks together. I have some flying geese already pieced and trimmed, some that just need to be trimmed. So I have this all going really well. I just need to actually sit and sew it all. I know a lot of you are probably in this same position with some of your projects as well, where you have everything ready to go. You just need to actually work on it, but another pattern comes up that you want to work on too. And it's just this vicious cycle, right? Okay, so a question I get a lot is why I work on flying geese the way I do, why I piece them the way I do. And I've always meant to give a detailed explanation for why I piece them the way I do. Hopefully it will make sense. There are so many different ways to make a particular block, and I don't honestly think one way is the right way or one way is the wrong way. There's just going to be a way that really suits your style, your brain, and the way it works, and the result that you want to get in your project. Now, for me, one of the reasons I piece flying geese the way I do is because I like to piece them larger and then trim them down so they're exact, and it makes for easier assembly of my block later so I can get some nice points and things like that. Another reason I piece them the way I do is because I don't end up with any bias edges around the outside of the flying geese. So I'm going to show you that here. So here are the pieces that I originally cut. This is the background fabric, and this is the color fabric that's in the center of the flying geese here. Now, this was cut from a large square, and I cut along the diagonal twice, and these pieces give the body of the flying geese. And then the square here is cut along the diagonal once, and these are the sides of the flying geese. Now, the reason I cut them this way is because the edge here is going to be a lot stretchier. It's that bias edge. And then when you bring it together with these, your biases are together, but the outside structure of this flying geese is going to be a lot more solid because none of these edges are a bias edge now. So when I trim this, when I press this and trim it down, I'm a lot less likely to have a lot of stretching along the edges when I piece my blocks together. So it saves me a lot of stress in the end. So that is why I like to piece my flying geese the way I do. Like I said, this is not the only right way to do them. If you have a way that you really like to do them, you should always piece your flying geese, your half square triangles, the way you love to do them. I don't think there's anything wrong with other methods where you get flying geese 4 at a time or half square triangles. You can get them, I don't know, 18 at a time. All those ways are fine if they work for you. This is just the way I like to do them, and hopefully that explanation makes sense as to why it works well for me. And I also think this method would be really good for somebody who's new to quilting because you may not know yet, because I know I didn't. I used to hate doing flying geese and half square triangles because I didn't know about the bias. I didn't know how to control it with different things like starch and pinning. So I feel like this method is a really good starting off point for people, especially that are new to quilting. All right, so let's assemble one of these. So I'm going to take one of these larger triangles and then two of the backgrounds over to the sewing machine. All right, so I have one side here that I'm going to place right sides together, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam. Now, what you really want is for the bottom here of that larger triangle to be lined up straight with the kind of side of the flying geese, and you're going to have some overhang here. You want this overhang because that's how you'll get that perfect point at the top of the flying geese. All right, so I'm going to sew that 1/4 inch seam. And then we need to press the seam here really well before we add on the next side. All right, so I have this seam pressed nice and flat, and so we're going to add on the other side, and we're going to do that in the same manner. We're going to get that right in the corner, nice, lining up along the bottom and the side, and then sewing a 1/4 inch seam across there. And again, you'll see that we have overhang here. So that's what we want. We want that extra fabric at the top of this point here. Okay, and then again, we're going to press the seam really well before we trim this up. This is flat and nice and beautifully pressed. All the seams are pressed really well. So now I can move on to trimming this down. So each day this month, I'm going to try to work on one of my projects that I really want to get finished. So today I'm going to be working on all these flying geese, and I want to get at least these blocks trimmed down to size and hopefully get some more things done, but this is definitely what I want to get finished today. So I'm going to use the Flying Geese trim lock to trim this block down and all of the rest of these. This is so easy to use. This one is 6.5 by 3.5, so it's going to trim the blocks down perfectly to that size. And what I want to do is get this point here and these lines lined up with the seams here. And so it'll line up perfectly. And what this does is allow for a 1/4 inch seam up here for piecing these together later. So I'll keep that perfect point of my flying geese. Now there are a lot of ways to trim up flying geese. You may already have a ruler you can use. So use what you have. If you don't have any flying geese specific trimmers, they make things a lot easier. There are a lot out there. Look at some videos and see what you think will work best for you. All right, so I'm just gonna trim up one side, turn, trim. And that's it, just like that. I have a perfectly trimmed flying geese for my pattern. It really doesn't take long. I just need to save some time each day to sit and focus and get this project finished. Let me know in the comments what project you are hoping to get finished this month. I would love to hear from you, and maybe we can motivate each other. Maybe every time you see a video come up of mine this month where I'm working on one of my projects that I have in my stash that I want to get finished, it'll motivate you to sit down and at least work on yours while my video is playing. All right, so one done, and I'm just gonna get the rest of these trimmed up, and I'll see if I have some time to work on some more of these blocks. All right, so now I have 11 more flying geese that I can add to my trimmed pile. So I have a bunch more finished. You saw I have a lot more to go, but at least we have some progress today. That's a nice chunk of these done. I'm gonna work on maybe a few more today. I think I have a little bit more time, but I'm telling you, if you have hated making flying geese because they always turn out wonky or are just really hard to get right, try this method. I have a post on my blog that has 4 different flying geese sizes and the cutting and assembly information. I'll link to that down in the description below. So if you want to practice making these and see if this method works better for you, you can try it out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video while we work on getting some more of these quilts and different projects in our stash finished this month. Bye.